Hey, good evening, everyone. This is yours truly, Tammy B, coming to you with another session of Real Talk with Tammy B and Company, the show where we are recording live so that you can actively engage in our conversation via the chat. So, as always, I do want to thank you, amazing people, for joining us. And I also want to state that if you have something that sparks your interest and you're viewing this via another platform, I invite you to jump over to YouTube and drop your comments and your questions into the chat so that I can share them with the panel. So, and as always, before we get started, I do want to ask if you're not part of our community, please join us by subscribing as we are here weekly at 7:30 p.m. with new content. And I am again grateful for you beautiful people being here along with my peeps, my girl, Cola E the Great. Hey, Cola.
Hey.
And of course, my man, our resident realtor, Mr. Shelly Sims himself. Hey, Shelly.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, and it is the first Wednesday of the month. So today is Wisdom Wednesday. And we have the Queens of Wisdom Wednesdays who need no introduction. Hey, Miss Sylvia.
Peace and blessing.
Peace and blessings. And hey, Miss Penelope.
Hi.
Welcome back, Miss P. You left us. You left us, but you got a story to tell, and I am looking forward to it. And so, before you get a chance to tell your story, listen. For those who missed last month's session, Wisdom Wednesday on August 6th with Mr. Van Dorn, let me tell you all, it was deep. Y'all know we've been having some deep conversations on this platform, but that conversation was deep as well. And so I highly recommend that you go back and check it out, especially when I because I already feel our talk tonight is going to be just as deep, especially when I share some things that I came across that you may or may not be ready for, but we are going to have the talk. So, but first, let me check in. Cola, what's good with you, my love?
Same old girl. Same old girl. Every day, just, every day growing. Honestly. Yeah.
Look, but that's life. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So look, you living your life path out, your purpose.
Listen. Yeah. Staying on the path. Staying on the path, honey.
You gotta stay focused because there's a lot of distractions going on out there for sure.
A lot. A lot. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot. Shelly, I saw the little profile picture you updated with your little drink. Where were you at? Where were you,
Uh,
Shelly?
I just went to the local neighborhood bar just to get out and get away. That was all.
Okay. I
Yeah.
saw you. I said, look at Shelly looking all swagged out over
Hey, you
there. Got
know,
his little sexy pose going on. Okay, Shelly.
sometimes I got to get up and get out and get away.
Listen, more than sometimes. That's something we
Yeah.
need to do all the time. That's something we need to do all the time. So you had a good time?
Yeah, I just went out for a couple hours, came on in. I don't be out like that.
Hey, if you did, it's okay. It's
I know,
okay.
but I just, on another path, another mission, got to stay disciplined. So,
And
Trying to stay
focus.
out in streets.
yeah, trying not to get in them, so I have to stay out of them. I left.
Okay.
Look,
Okay.
look, touche,
Yeah.
touche. Miss Sylvia, what's good with you, ma'am? How things
Just
in the NC?
just everything is great here. Just living and learning each and every day. Find out I don't know anything.
Mm, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
But they say the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yes.
Look. Look, that definitely tends to be a true statement. There's some truth that rings in that one. Woo. Well, listen, and the best part about you saying that though, and this is why I love and respect you so much. There are people that are in your age, they think they know everything. So, you can't tell them anything. So, if they, to hear somebody respectfully in your age say that I don't know anything, that's big. Because a lot of people will be like they know everything and you can't tell them anything else. So I respect that so much. That's how the growth continues. Yes, that's how the growth continues. So Miss P, I what's good with you aside from you going to Egypt, ma'am? And I misspoke because last month I said you had went to Africa, so I told the people some wrong information. You
The
went to
Egypt is in
Egypt.
Africa.
It's
Oh,
Africa.
Egypt
oh
is in
well.
Africa, baby.
Yeah,
It's
that's
on the
Africa.
Well,
continent.
but when I was thinking Africa, I was thinking like,
Well,
uh
you know what, Tammy? You don't have to explain because people were taught and still are being taught that Egypt is in some place called the Middle East. There is no
Mm-mm.
such place as the Middle East. It is on the continent of Africa. That whole
mm,
Middle East thing it's geopolitical. It's all about politics. But believe you me, Egypt is in Africa.
Politics and deception.
mm.
That's right. I mean, when you say politics, you can just automatically say deception.
Look, they all go hand in hand.
Hmm. Yes.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Well, I definitely am looking forward to us having more conversation about that. And before we do, we have crossed over into the month of September. So I do want to wish happy birthday to all those born in the month of September. And I know September starts out as Virgo season. So I already know Virgos have jumped right in. And so I hope you guys are enjoying your season. And then also, did you guys, did you all know this one isn't nothing to smile about, but did you all know that September is considered to be Suicide Prevention Awareness Month?
Mm, mm, mm.
What month?
This month right here is considered to be Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and I know that's a topic that people don't like to talk about, but
Right.
I did want to acknowledge it and say to anyone that may be struggling with those thoughts and or suffering in silence, I wanted to say seek professional help. The national hotline number is 988, and know that you are not alone and there are people out there who care about you. And even as a life coach, I am here to help as well. You can visit my website, www.happinesslifestylecoaching.com. It is also, I love this about September, it's also Self Care Awareness Month, which says it's a time to promote the importance of prioritizing one's physical, mental, and emotional well being. Suggestions are engage in physical activities such as exercise, yoga, practicing mindfulness through meditation or journaling, get enough sleep because I know a lot of people don't do enough of that. Eat a healthy diet, what goes garbage in, garbage out. So you put good things in, you also cleaning up your aura space. That's big. Spend time with loved ones, take care of finances, and do something good for you. Take a trip, get a massage, go out in nature. Find those moments that make you feel good. So, with that, I want to ask the panel a question. Y'all know I like to do a little icebreaker. I'm gonna throw a little icebreaker question out there for you guys. If you had to teach a class on one thing, what would you teach? I'm going looking at my screen. I'm gonna start with you, Cola. What would you teach?
Come back. It's a couple of things. I need to narrow it down.
Miss Sylvia, what would you teach?
I would teach a course on distractions.
You know what? Speaking of distractions, Cola, I got Cassandra coming back next week. We're gonna talk about this global mass hypnosis going on in the world. So yeah, we're gonna have a deep conversation next
Wonderful
week.
topic. It'll be
Huh?
great. That'll be good. Wonderful
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, we're gonna have a deep conversation on that. So yes, distractions. I love it. Miss P, what would you teach a class on?
I would I would teach a class on loving yourself.
Mm. Look. Can we need to set up a separate platform and get started on that? Because you'll be surprised how many people really don't love themselves, but they
Oh,
really, huh?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, not you, but I'm sorry. Just just putting it
Okay.
out there because they're really there are a lot of people that they don't practice self love and a lot I want to say this,
Are
but
we taught to practice self-love or to look for love outside ourselves?
that's it. Looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love externally, looking for someone else to make you happy when it's an assignment that's within yourself. All that, even when the scripture clearly says charity starts at home and is spread abroad, that is saying you got to love yourself before you can really expect someone to love you. As a matter of fact, I was in a conversation earlier today with someone, another life coach, and she was saying, that there are people that wonder if anybody really loves them. And so and I told her, I said, well, one way to help answer that question is, how do they feel about themselves? Because if you love you, you're going to attract love. You embody love. And so yeah, that was a good one as well. Thank you so much for that. And I see we lost Miss Sylvia. She might be having technical difficulties again, but we know she'll be back with us. Shelly, what would you teach a class on?
Um, Honestly, mine was the same thing. I said I would teach a class on self for everybody to learn themselves, self awareness, self love. Just know thyself, as they say. Yeah.
You took a line out of my favorite movie.
Mhm.
The Matrix. Yeah, no, know thyself. Yes. That's so powerful to me. That's so powerful to me. Cola, you think of that one, what would you teach on
Yeah. On just listening and comprehending before speaking. Because I have seen, and I mean, this is always going on, I guess, but what I'm becoming aware of
that?
is
Mm-hmm.
that people are defensive. People, you could say something, and before they even think and process what has been said, it's a straight comeback, and it's like, you can't get you. Some people can't even get issues resolved because you're too busy fighting.
You're right. You're right. But and that I feel is another one of those distractions in this
Hello,
universe.
can y'all hear me?
We had
Yeah.
lost you for a minute.
uh,
Go
can
ahead.
you hear me?
We can hear you.
It's thunderstorm where I am. It's thunderstorm, light the flickering on and off. Yeah,
Oh, okay. No worries, no worries. But no,
you
that
got me.
can you hear us?
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Do me a
Okay, so
favor.
what I'm finding
I
is
think I
that
think your
sometimes
connection.
people.
I think listen.
Mhm.
I think your connection messed up. You might have to log out and come back in because you sound
Yeah,
like
I had to do that.
and to the people listening in the chat, if you're live and you have access to type in the chat, if you could teach a class on one thing, what would you teach on? I'm going to ask you guys the question as well. And so while we're waiting for the questions and for Cola to come back, so did you guys know that the fun food for today, which Shelly could care less, is National Baby Back Ribs Day, and I'm sure Miss Sylvia could care less as well, but it's National Baby Back Ribs Day for the rib eaters out there. And it's National Welsh WELSH Rare Bit Day. I don't know if any of you know what that is because I didn't. I had to look it up, but it's a dish made with a savory cheese based sauce and it's served over toast. So look, I told y'all a day before. I think we record on the wrong day of the week because we land on some crazy days out there. And I see somebody put in the chat, I'll teach a class on principles of discipline. Yes, I like that. See, you look, we might have to have some spin-offs from this conversation tonight. Okay, and then it's also National Skyscraper Day, which is a day to observe the beauty of architecture. And for the bowlers out there, it is US Bowling League Day. And so, as we get ready to start transitioning into our talk, because we got a lot of information to share tonight, but I do want to acknowledge that there was I think in Texas, a little 11-year-old boy did the ding and ditch at a resident's house. Um, I guess today or what? Yeah, I just saw it on the news. But the homeowner shot him when the little boy was running away. So it's like he was doing a little prank and he lost his life over it. So when we were talking earlier about there are a lot of things going on, there are a lot of things going on in the world. So and then I think last week, oh man, Shelly, what was it? A school shooting took place last week. Something took place last week that I heard about, but I heard about it after I had recorded, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! If I would have known about it, I would have said something about it."
Hmm.
Uh this is what Cola probably would know, but
Mhm.
something happened last week, but it was at a Catholic school. There was something at a Catholic school, and while the kids were praying, the kids
Mm.
was praying, and the boy and the young man went in and shot up the place. So
Wow.
yeah, that
Yeah, I didn't hear
happened.
about it. I took a break from the news in the world for a week or so. So
I try to take a break from the news all the time, but they tend to find me.
mm-mm-mm.
It tend to find me, and so I try to acknowledge and see and listen. So somebody else in the chat said they would teach a class on nutrition and heart healthy diet. Yes, food is good for the soul, and that's a literal thing. All right. So I think Cola is still having a difficult moment with her computer. Ladies, since I have you on here, I want to see if you guys either one of you can, or even Shelly, you can tell me. I recently heard I don't know if you heard the story that the Haitians fought back against ICE when they tried to do this big deportation in New York recently. And so they fought back against ICE. And when that was brought to my attention, I was also told that, they had a history of fighting back, which is what you shaking your head, Miss P, back in
The
the
Haitian Revolution.
1800s. So
Yeah.
I'm not versed on that, but educate us on that. What happened with them? If we can talk about that briefly, because I want to know as much
Briefly.
history as I
I
can.
don't know if you could talk about that briefly,
Oh,
but that's a whole lecture.
But
really?
the brief version would be that the Haitians fought to win their freedom from slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And Tariq Nasheed has I would say, a documentary called 1804, I believe it is,
Somebody just put 1804 in the chat. Mm-hmm.
that talks about the Haitian Revolution. And that is where the Haitians fought against France, they fought against England, and they kicked their behinds. The
Mm.
reason, yes, they did. And they had to pay reparations back to these countries because they could no longer enslave them. And that's how the Westerners turned this thing upside down on his head. You're no longer our slaves, so you're going to have to pay us because we're losing money because we can no longer enslave you. So they deforested Haiti. And that's one of the reasons they are so devastated by the storms that come through because they cut down all the trees on the island. That's
And
just a little bit.
and if I add, before it was labeled bad, before there was anything such as like religion and stuff, the Haitians used voodoo against them, and that was one of the major parts of why they won. And
That was
since then, the Americas labeled voodoo as bad and devilish, and that's why we use it now as something negative. But it was their spirituality and their gifts as gods, and they did lots of spells and things and caused them sick and all kind of stuff. And so they labeled voodoo bad, and now we think it's bad, and that's really just
yeah.
our spirituality, our power as a people.
So
Same as in the movie Avatar.
Yep.
in the movie Avatar.
They use magic.
Yeah, that's good call. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you finished with what you said after you said about the voodoo, because I'm so sick of stuff that people don't understand being classified as the devil's work, being, evil, this, that, and the other. When just what you just said, though they tapped into spirituality, universal laws that we all have the power to use ourselves. But if they convince us that it's bad for us, we don't play with it and we let them control us. That's kind of how I feel, which brings something that I want to ask this, because, and I hope this is not getting into your teachings, but something that I just listened to yesterday that has me like, I was like, why I have you ladies, I want to ask this question. um I was listening to a message that mentioned Egypt and the pyramids. That's why I wanted to ask it as well. So I really want to get your thoughts, your thoughts on this before we dive into what you're going to share with us. So I was listening to a summary of Edgar Casey's readings, which said in Egypt, Jesus studied in the Great Pyramid, which was actually a temple of initiation, not just a tomb. There he learned about the soul's journey after unalive and how consciousness survives physical unalive. The reading describes the initiation chamber in the Great Pyramid is where Jesus experienced unalive and resurrection, symbolically preparing him for his literal unalive and resurrection in Jerusalem. He learned that unalive is just a transition of consciousness, not an ending of an existence. What are your thoughts on that? And is that I hope
First
that's
of,
not getting into your
first
message.
of all, first of all, the pyramids were not tombs, and that's the first misnomer.
Okay.
And the pyramids were actually regeneration chambers, and we'll talk about that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I have a T-shirt, and I told Penelope I think I'm gonna have to have a couple of them made. And that T-shirt says, "Everything I think I know is a lie."
That's a fact. And I don't know if we're going to touch it, so I don't want to jump the gun. But the original Africa was here. We're in Africa. We're in the original land. The pyramids over there were replicas of things that were here. We're not replicas.
Absolutely,
They took them over
absolutely.
there and rebuilt them. But America is the original Africa. There's more pyramids here. The Nile was the Mississippi. All the works were done here. All the wealth, the copper, the gold, all that is in the land here.
Mm. Wow, Miss P, you had anything you wanted to say?
Uh, no,
Okay.
I think they covered.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I just wanted to give you the opportunity, because I see that we have Mr. Van Dorn in the chat, and he said what we are talking about is natural intelligence of humans, The word
Yes.
is Vodun, Vodun.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
The one thing I did want to say is this is the gist of what I got in Egypt with the tour that I was with, and that everything was centered around, and I'm going to say the word death and
Yeah.
resurrection. And we're not talking about physical resurrection, but the resurrection of consciousness.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And who? Oh my. Okay. Let me go ahead. Mr. Van Doren put the chamber and the Giza plateau. Or if I did, I say that right?
Giza.
Giza
Giza.
Giza
Giza.
plateau pyramid was an initiation chamber. Okay. Okay. All right. One more thing. One more thing. I want to. Well, because ultimately in that message, what I was learning was, it was telling the truth because he was talking to. Hold on, because I want to.
You might have to bring Van Doren on the platform.
We can send him. Look, I can send him the link. But when I play the video, Mr. Van Dorn, I'm gonna email you the link if you want to join us. But when I start playing the video, in fact, let me just go ahead and do that then and invite Mr. Van Dorn to the platform because he was very informative last month. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Wait a minute, Miss P, did you want to talk first about what I'm getting ready to share? I'm sorry, I got distracted with
I
inviting.
wanted to say a few things before you played the video.
Go for it.
Okay, so the trip that I took to Egypt it was a 15-day trip. And I went with a group called Kemet Know Thyself. It's an educational tour. And the tour is done by a couple out of Dallas, Texas, Ashra and Mary Ra Kwesi. And he was, I would say, a protege of Dr. Ben. And I know we asked about if you all knew Dr. Ben or you ever heard of Dr. Ben before. I hope you've tried to find out something about him. But anyway, he's been doing this, he and his wife, for like 40 years or so. And the videos that you're going to watch, I did not make those videos. A young lady from Texas by the name of Sabrina Hamilton did that. And so she sent those to those of us in the group who wanted them. And I want to give her credit for that because I actually thought she was a professional photographer, but she just does this as a hobby. And she does really, really good work as far as I'm concerned. So I want to give her credit for that because she did that work. I didn't have the skills to do that. I took a lot of pictures, but it's no way I could have put it together the way she did. So I just wanted to give that little bit of credit to the Quasis and to Sabrina. And I also want to say that if you ever have a desire to go to Egypt and to uh, be overwhelmed with all of the information that there is, Kemet is the way to go. I looked at a lot of groups, and honestly, at this time, theirs was the least expensive. Since I've been to Egypt, I am now getting information. You know how that goes. You do something, and your phone knows everything you do. I have gotten offers to go to Egypt for 10 days for $30,000. Thank you. And so, what you see in Egypt are a lot of tour guides that are Arabs. And I know I got when we went to the old Cairo Museum, they now have a brand new Cairo Museum, which is at this time the largest museum in the world. Um, the old Cairo, I hope I don't lose my thought, but and I did lose it. Maybe it'll come back. Oh, I know what it was. I got them. This is what came to me because I saw all kind people from all over the world are there. You know, from Asia, from Europe, from Africa, from America, and I'm like, everybody in here is getting a different story. I
Yes.
promise you, everybody is getting a different story. You can tell. You know, our group was the only group who was really engaged in what we were doing because we were being taught, and we had lectures every night to expound upon what we had done during the day in terms of visiting the pyramids, the temples, the tombs, wherever else we visited. So um, that's just a little brief. It's a real boot camp, I tell you. You gotta be you. I didn't know what to expect, but we were up most mornings at 5 o'clock because we were trying to beat the heat. And actually, the heat was not as bad as it was here in North Carolina. We didn't complain about it because it didn't feel that bad at all. It's dry heat like Nevada and Arizona. And so the biggest thing I think all of us had problems with was eating and drinking and having upset stomachs. Most of us had that experience. So that was the biggie for me.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm gonna go ahead. So I want to. Mr. Van Doren said he's not able to join us. He's actually out walking. He would love to be here. He also added the death of the pedestrian awareness is paramount to one advancing in the spiritual teachings. Um. Okay. Good. Okay, look, I was processing that, but okay, thank you, Mr. Van Dorn. Okay, so let me share my screen. And let's see. You say the first one or the well, let me just start.
The first one I sent you.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, then that's the Egyptian Museum. That's not gonna be the first day.
Okay.
I think
All right, the first one. Okay.
Day 2. Do you have a day 2? I think that was where we went to the Giza Plateau.
Okay, hold on.
Let me see. I'll look at the itinerary. Yeah. Just it doesn't matter. Just play one.
No, I want to play the right one. And then I still went back to the first one. Okay, let me just go ahead and play. Well, I guess you don't have to.
That's a great
So Miss P, is it the other one that would have the pyramids,
There is one. I think the first one I sent you was the one of the Giza Plateau.
okay.
That right there is the old Cairo Museum. We went to that museum before. Our last day in Egypt, we went to the new Cairo Museum, and it is humongous. That's where I was telling Sylvia when we were leaving, I felt this immense vibration under my feet. I asked other people if they felt it. They had not, but it was outside. And I mean, it was just,
Outside of the museum or
it was
outside of the
outside
Giza?
the museum. It was outside the museum, not inside. Um, that last picture of the body, that was actually a statue of Akhenaten. And they really honed in on the body or the belly because it symbolizes birth. And so I'm like, I was telling Sylvia, they had a lot of bodies shown like that, and they actually look like feminine bodies, not male bodies. And so my belief is that a lot of those pharaohs were actually women,
Mm.
actually women, because of the emphasis on the belly button. Why would a man doesn't he's not concerned with the umbilical cord because he can't have a child. And so a lot of these I mean, if you just saw them and you had
What
no
was
ideas, then you just pass it off. But if you have read the Sibyls and been introduced to that information, then it starts to make sense that a lot
Yeah.
of those statues are female, not male.
Yes.
so did they have an explanation for it? Did you ask the emphasis on the umbilical cord, which represents life, which is really just life?
Well, yeah,
Did you
I mean,
ask?
just no, I did not ask
Okay. I
because
was just wondering
no,
if they had some, yeah, what was behind the emphasis of that, if it was because it was emphasized.
no, no,
I
no,
bet you, I bet you they don't even know because they're all under a patriarchal system that tries to
yes,
hide all of the matriarchal history. So
yeah.
most of those guides and most of those people in the museums, they don't know
Yeah, the
jack.
tour guides, yeah, they only know what they were told to know, yeah, told to tell. It's
And
like me applying for a job, and this is how you present this and present that. Yeah.
hmm
I mean,
yeah,
so
because
it wasn't researchers that was given the tour, they were workers.
well, the people who did our tour are
Yeah,
researchers. I mean, he's been doing this research for a very long time.
not
However,
him, the people that work in the museum.
I don't know what they do. Okay. I don't know. I just know I heard one person who'd been to Egypt and he said they were given an Arab guide. He said, and they just told lies and I fired them on the spot. He's saying I took over the tour and explained what was going on myself. So, like I told you, when we were in that old museum and even in the new museum, I mean, they have guides. You pay for a guide, but I don't know what they're being told, but I'm sure it wasn't the same thing that we were, you know, that we were learning, the same things that we were learning. Because most people were like there for a photo op and jump in front of a statue and, take a picture, and that was it. But I know some of the times that we were going into temples, we were asked to go very quietly and to just allow ourselves to see what came up for us. It was more of a spiritual thing than just going in to look at the drawings and the writings on the walls. But all of them tell stories. All those pictures and etchings tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
And by and large, most of them are about resurrection because the Egyptians were very much interested in maintaining and transferring their consciousness further. Even in the Emerald tablets, Thoth talks about transferring his consciousness to other avatars. And so that may be why he was able to live so long. Because remember, in the movie Avatar,
Mm-hmm.
this guy was able to use his consciousness because he was a paraplegic, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
but he was able to use his consciousness to move that to use that avatar. So in the avatar, he was not a paraplegic, but once his consciousness was transferred to it, then he was able to be use his whole body.
So, and even to the point where you're talking about resurrection, um, I learned recently learned that in 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea, they got together and they removed a lot of talk about the resurrection from Jesus's teaching. Have you heard anything
Well,
about that? I'm sorry.
well, I mean, I was taught that in seminary. Main thing is at the Council of Nicaea, they decided what Western Christianity would look like, what it would read like. And so I remember in my church history class, and this is the truth, all my life I'm going to church, and I
Mhm.
never even knew the church had a history. We didn't know that. All we
Because the
knew was
Bible was
that,
a church history. Go ahead.
huh? We
Because
thought the
the Bible
Bible
was the church
was it.
history.
No, the church has a history, and the Christian church's history is very bloody because they were about killing people. I mean, that's how enslavement came about. If you were not a Christian, you could be killed or enslaved, your choice. That's how we got to be. That's how people got to be enslaved. That's how millions of people were destroyed by death. Um, Not that death can destroy your consciousness, but
We understand
you
physical. We
understand what I'm
understand.
saying. Yes. The what do you call the Crusades? That's what they were called. The
Yeah.
Christian
The Christian
Crusade.
Crusades,
And
yes.
they said, by this sign, we will conquer. And that sign was the cross and a shield. Because the Ankh that came out of Kemet got turned into which now the Ankh represented life. The top of the
Life,
Ankh represents the womb of the
the
female.
womb,
The bottom of the Ankh represents the penis
the
of
penis.
the male. And the two coming together creates life. And if men and women keep getting together, then we keep having life. But then
Mhm.
that cross for Christianity was turned into a sign of death. And in the Roman Catholic Church, Jesus is always still hanging on that cross dead.
And the before all that, the Catholics ran it. So when everybody left and wanted their freedom from the king, they allowed them to create Christianity and spread the word, as long as they paid their tithes to the Catholic Church, and allowed them to transfer all the people who were non-believers into Christians. So the Council of Nicaea, they just took majority of the stuff in the pyramids that were about the Egyptian gods and made them into I don't want to use the word American, but Jesus and all the things we know now. They just renamed them
Yeah.
and allowed the Crusaders to preach that the new teachings and told them they had the right to conquer a land, convert everyone into Christianity if they established X amount of churches in that land and paid their tithes back to the Catholic Church.
What?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
there's a good book, and I call it a very good book because it's easy to read and understand. It's called the what is Walter Williams' book? That book is called I think, The Origin of Christianity as we
Mm.
know. and he does a very good job in layman's terms where you can really understand what he is talking about. And he tells that story the way that Shelley
Yeah.
was just telling it.
And
It's a good read.
if you're in the TV shows, the show is called The Vikings. It was a long series. It told so much of the truth of how they spread Christianity for the Catholics strictly for the purpose of tithes.
For the purpose of what?
A tithe of money
Money,
for the Catholic.
money. That's what the Reformation was about, because people were being told they'd have to pay in order to keep from going to purgatory.
And we're
if
told
you,
if you didn't want to be a Christian, there was only one option, and that was death.
and it wasn't about saving your soul. It was
They
about
knew
taking
nothing
your
about
money.
that then. That wasn't even in the rhetoric.
Mm-mm.
And because even back with Jesus, every prisoner was put on a cross. There was thousands of crosses with thousands of bodies on. That was their kind of electric chair. So that's why they took the symbol, and it was a symbol of death, not a symbol of life.
It was nothing unfamiliar to people.
Right.
You know, all these untruths that have, who did we lose? We lost Cola. She have the storm going on. This is blowing my mind. Like when you really talk about the origin, because you can look at where we're at today and see that I'm trying to think of the polite way to say some of this stuff, but it's disheartening because when you even when you're talking about death is not the end. And according to it's the end to this physical body, but not to the consciousness. Because one of the teachings of one of the informations that Edgar Casey was talking about. So for those who don't know, Edgar Casey is known as the sleeping prophet, and he tapped in, I guess, did some channeling from the Akashic records, which is a database of all souls on earth. And what he was saying in Jesus's teaching was our souls continuously come back here on a spiritual evolution and evolving and growth, ultimately for us to all get to a place of love. And it's interesting to me that if love is supposed to be the foundation of everything, the actions that's taking place on everything that you said, the enslavement, the hanging the people on the cross, you got to pay reparations, you got to do this, you got to do that. That's not love. That's not operating in what I feel to be spirit, our true purpose is for being here. But I know each person has karmic lives and things to live out and clean up. But ultimately, I feel we're supposed to get to a place of love. And everything that you guys are saying, that they got people thinking you got to be a part of this, but it's not creating a loving environment. It's not creating a environment that's even conducive for people's mental health. Right. I like what somebody just put in the chat. It is blatant conditioning. And that's the problem. I stand down now. But I just have so much passion behind, what's the word that I heard earlier? Deception. I think that's the word you guys put with politics. There's so much deception. And whereas people really want to, walk that path of true enlightenment and spirituality, they're being so misguided, so they don't really know what is actually truth and what's not.
Well, they can't
Especially
allow
when they
you to
listen
reach
to their
that
leaders.
level because you will no longer be able to be controlled. So they
I
can't.
was gonna say it's about the power. It's
Yep.
all about the power, all about the control, greed, power, control.
Yes, that ego. Miss Sylvia, Miss P, y'all have anything to say about this?
I just wanted to say that talk about the political terms like the Middle East as opposed to saying Northern Africa. That's a distraction to take people's mind out of Africa. So when you study ancient African history, you'll find out that the word Egypt is a Greek word for the African word Kemet. And the reason
Right.
they don't use the word Kemet is because Kemet means land of the black
The
people.
black. Yep.
So if you continue to use the word Egypt, it'll focus your mind on the Arab culture that is now in control of that African land. It's all a distraction as I see it. So we always taught our students to use the term Kemet as opposed to Egypt, so it would keep their minds focused on, we're talking about uh, Black world civilizations.
That's right.
Mhm.
And
And
not only is it, I'm sorry, go ahead. I thought you were finished.
one thing I noticed, we had the Quasis also had one person who helped them with the lectures. Now, I'm not sure if he was Arab or not, but he didn't refer to himself as an Arab. He would we would be going through a temple or whatever, and he would say, "Make the way for the royal family." We're coming through. But what I did notice about him is that when he talked about Kemet, he would say Egypt first, and then he would say Kemet. And I don't know if that's a mandate from the government or not, because I understand that they are really bearing down on what you can say and cannot say about ancient Kemet in
And,
Egypt.
and the reason is the highest source of income for that particular area called Egypt is tourism. So if the true knowledge of Kemet is instilled, then that changes their whole story and they would possibly lose a lot of tourists.
And it also changes the power structure. When people find, if the world were to know that Egyptians were black people, and I'm talking about not and not just all different shades of black. The gosh, who's the blue blacks over there?
In the Congo.
Sudanese.
The Nubians, not the, what do we call them now? Sudanese. The Egyptians were that black. Some were that black. And if the world knew that Egypt was nothing but black, the pharaohs were black all the way up until the more recent dynasties, that would change the whole power structure. Or it could, if we knew what to do with that information, it could change the whole power structure. So that's another reason.
And it's so
And
funny you
they
said
have
power
they
structure.
have this guy that used to be the former minister of antiquity, some name they gave him. He's in the government. His name is Zahi Hawass, and Zahi's job is to make sure that the story remains the way they want that story told,
Now
so they
we
don't lose that income.
Okay, so Sylvia, that reminded me. We stopped at, I don't remember which place it was, but every place we stopped just about had a little booklet about the temple or whatever it was we had visited. And so Kwasi said they know not to bring that other version to the bus to sell, because I will not let them sell it here. So whatever
Good
they
for
had,
him.
that's right. I mean, he's bringing, it was like 68 of us, and there was supposed to be like 100 and some. But, people start losing their jobs, and Some of them were afraid of what was going on in the Gaza, not,
Right.
and they either got it mixed up with Giza. And yeah, I mean, and honestly, when we had our Zoom meeting in June, she told everybody we're always in touch with people and we know what's going on, so we didn't run into anything like that. But I think a lot of people were just losing those federal jobs and they weren't able to attend. And that's why we didn't have as many people. I mean, they were really, they were um, they lost a lot of people on that particular trip.
Gotcha. Cola, somebody gave you a shout out on the last information that you said. They said, well said, Cola. Oh, and
Yeah.
Mr. Van Doren put earlier, he said, it is the death of the ego self, a dominator in one's affairs that must be achieved. And we do agree the ego definitely becomes the controlling point. Several things that you guys said that I wanted to add. Cola, was interesting that you was talking about power structure because that's kind of like on the notes that I'm looking at. Uh Specifically when it was talking about the Council of Nicaea removed all of Jesus' true mystical teachings because it threatened the power structure of organized religion, and it was easier to control people by making them dependent on external authority versus teaching them how to access their own divine connection. So it's interesting that you were saying power structure, and I was looking at it. Also, I heard you guys talk about the Kemet and the changing of the names. Have you all heard of Jesus's other name, Yeshua?
Yes.
I had not heard of that until recently.
And then there's others, but yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That it just like going back to what Miss Sylvia said. When you think I learned, I don't know a lot of nothing because that was my first time, like I said, recently ever hearing him being referred to as other than Emmanuel.
And the R is actually silent. It's not Yeshua, it's Yeshua.
Yashi.
And the thing is, Tammy, you have to read. If you want to know, you have
that's
to
against
read.
the law. That's against the law.
Well, it's what you read. You got to be reading that stuff. Know what to go and read.
Well, you will know if you are interested enough. It'll come.
Oh
It'll
yeah,
come
no, it's
you.
no. This is what I'm saying. This stuff is now coming to me because I am interested and I'm opening myself up to this information. Because for far too long, anyways, I don't even want to get into that. So, Miss Sylvia, you have some notes for us.
Well, can I ask Miss P this question before we get to that? Let me ask Miss P this question. Were you able, excuse me, did your tour guide take you to, I forget the name of the island, but there's a place where there's some true Egyptians that are still there, but they've just been pushed back off to this island.
In Nubia.
Okay.
Yes, we went to Nubia.
Not there. This place is in Egypt.
Well, Nubia is in Egypt.
There's an island. It's not Nubia. There's an island where there's an island of Black people who still speak the ancient Egyptian language that is now dying out. Okay. And they have, so y'all didn't get to go there?
No, I don't know about that. I'll have to look. I think Sylvia might know about it, but I don't.
Okay. They actually still speak. Now, I don't know how ancient it is, but they do speak the ancient Egyptian language that is now dying out. And these people are trying to continue. They're trying to keep their bloodline alive. And they're trying to do that by marrying and having babies with distant cousins. And what's happening right now is just like we had a lot of in Africa. Gosh, what are those people named? The group of people that would come in and teach about the Bible and American ways. What are those people called? I forget.
Missionaries.
Yeah, missionaries. So So they now have government missionaries in Egypt that are going to the island, teaching the people the newer language, trying to kill off the old Egypt, the old ancient language, and they're now teaching them the newer, what the modern ways, the new world ways. So yeah, this it's a couple of them. It's a couple of hundred that still exist,
Well, let me
that
tell you.
still have that ancient Egyptian DNA.
Okay, so Sylvia have to tell me about them. Let me tell you what I found very interesting in Nubia. They do not deal with the Caucasian at all. We were
Mm.
there, and there was a man sitting there begging for money or asking for money, I'll say. He was in a
Mhm.
wheelchair, and so I didn't see a lot of Europeans there, but I did see a few come through, and I'm like, I want to see if he's going to ask them for money. He did not. And so I thought it was so interesting. I made mention of it to somebody, and they said they do not deal with the Caucasian at all because they think that they all have leprosy and they
Oh.
do not want to catch it.
Wow.
So they don't even speak to them. They can walk through the village. And I'm like, I wonder what the guide tells them because they actually don't intermingle with them at all.
Hmm.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. That's
It's kind of
interesting.
smart.
Oh, and one more thing, Colin, when you also mentioned the company, the culture that's like literally blue back was in blue, like black was interesting, and I felt so bad. I'm gonna tell y'all, I got a confession. I saw this guy walking today, and he had on this hoodie. And respectfully, he was so dark that I thought he had on a mask. I'm like, why is this dude walking in broad daylight with a whole mask on his face? And then when I got on it, I realized that was his skin tone. And I was like, oh my God, I feel bad for saying that. But it's just interesting that you just said that because I swear I saw someone that fit that description today. I did.
Do you know back then when black people did reign, the darker the person, the more spiritual we thought they were, the
Yeah.
more powerful they were due to due to the richness of the melanation in their skin. The
Mm,
darker they were, we once like that was the thing that everybody wanted to be because it represented high spirituality, it represented wealth, it represented richness in spirit because of the melanation of the skin, the richness of it.
I
wow.
used to work with this guy who was from Niger, and he would bring people into this temporary employment agency that I was operating at the time.
Mhm.
He was, what can I say? I won't say blue black. He was purple. I mean, it was something about this man's skin that
Mhm.
I don't even know how to tell you that it was just like magical. You
Mm.
know,
I was
he
gonna say
was so
it does
black.
radiate. Hmm.
Huh? Yeah.
I was gonna say it's almost like it radiates.
Yes. Yeah. It's like it has this power, you know. At least for me it did.
Mm.
I just found it very fascinating.
Wow, nice, nice. Okay, Miss. Um. Oh, let's see. Hold on. Let me try this real quick, and then let me get the floor over to Let's catch up, fast forward it.
That's the lady who took the pictures. Tammy, you can go ahead and turn it over to Sylvia. This was at the Temple of Luxor. This was we took a domestic flight from Cairo to Luxor for this. And I tell you, these statues and monuments are so humongous that my thought always was, why would people our size build something this size?
I think Miss
history
Sylvia
is
got
proving
something.
that those people were that size, the original people.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, I can't say it's been proven because I can't back it up, but it's been proven that those were the original size of the original guys that came. And once they left and had children, blah, 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 the children were the kings, the Ramses and stuff that felt they were gods and built buildings that emulate the original guys that came and thought they had their power and could do stuff like that.
Yeah. They had the technology
Mm-hmm.
and they had the physical acuity to do it. I just don't see people my size doing that. No matter how much technology we had. Why would we build something that huge?
As a matter of fact, I was in a conversation with somebody last night who asked me what the topic was going to be about. And they were saying that when they were in the military and they went to Egypt, they said there's no way you can tell them with the material that it's made out of, the granite, the height, the everything. There's no way that people grab some sticks and our
It
size.
wasn't physically done.
No.
Here's the thing about that. There are many different stories. There just are. You can't say that you haven't heard them. I've heard that, yeah, they were built by giants. Then you hear that I've heard that they were also built by sound. Sound is a vibration that can lift when people sync their minds together. I've heard that. Um, I've heard that, they were built by slaves. Then you hear that they were built by aliens. There's just were not aliens, aliens, and then I've heard that they were, and there's stories behind all of this. I've heard that they were built by celestial beings that helped, um, the Egyptians at that time because the Egyptians were in sync with celestial beings. And they talk about the whole star system and how the pyramids line up with the star system. I've heard so many different stories behind it. The truth is we really don't know, and that's for real.
Now
That's for real.
there are some researchers that you can read about. I want to spell the name, and one of the persons is John Zajac, Zajac, and just look him up. Go to Google. That's what your God is. Go to Google.
That is not my God.
Not mine either,
Look him up. Look him up. Write it down because you're not going to remember it. And he has done many books on the topic she just mentioned as to how those structures may have come into being, but it at least is based on peer-reviewed research.
I understand.
He has written many, many books. Now, that brings me to Art Bell. Art Bell was the person that caused me to become interested in pyramid science. Art Bell, too, died mysteriously. He, too, has written many books on the subject. And I remember when I lived in California, I had heard about Art Bell, so I said, I'm going to his studio. I heard his studio was somewhere in California. I found out where it was. And I was telling Van Doren today that I said, I found that studio. I walked into that studio and he's not a doctor. And that's good because he got more information. He looked at me as if I was an alien, like, what are you doing here? So I told him, I said, uh, I've read some of your books. I've checked out your videos and I've been studying it for years. And I heard about property of the pyramids. So I came in to your studio because I want to purchase one of your pyramids. And let me show you. That was over 30 years ago. So he was surprised, I guess because I was African American. He was surprised that I knew, I studied his works. And so I purchased this pyramid. And just to give you an example, if you put it on your head or like this, then you have a migraine headache. The headache goes away. So
Energy
just,
portal.
just that information reading and following these type researchers and engineers in the field caused me to really get interested in pyramid science. And that's why I also wanted to get more information from Van about sacred geometry, because I know these
Yes.
angles and
Yeah.
lines carry a frequency. So I like to talk to people
Yes.
that are into the science or read information from people who are into the science so they can give us, for inquisitive people like myself, I want to know why, and I know they can tell you why. Another thing I know is true. While I was working for Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan with the OIC programs in Philadelphia, one of the most famous 100 Black men in the world, Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan. While working there, one of the staff persons said that we were just talking. He said his wife had gone into the hospital and had an operation. So what he did, he went into their sunroom and he built a pyramid out of wood, and he placed a chair under the pyramid so that when his wife came home from the hospital, he would place her in this structure because he wanted her stitches to heal as rapidly as possible, and they did. So I've talked to people and myself have personally experienced pyramid science. Yeah, I just want to know that.
I like that. I like that. Okay, this is some good stuff. And like, look, I need to get into pyramid science, but I want to read because Mr. Van Doren he really should have been on the panel with us tonight. So he several things going back to what when we were talking about the melanated. He said it is, and he put in caps, true light radiating from these highly melanated beings. The next comment
Yes.
the wide array of activated codons gives rise to this light radiating from their being.
That
And
is true. That's fact. That's scientific. That is scientific right there.
love it, love it. And then he
Now,
said, I guess going back to the building of the pyramids, at their time, the gravity on this earth was less than it is today. The accounts for this accounts for their size. True science shows that the gravity of a planet is the determinant in the size of life forms. So those are some nuggets that Mr. Van Dorn has dropped for us. All right, so Miss Sylvia,
And let
what
me
say
just add to what Miss Sylvia said about the sacred geometry,
yes.
which is that is also scientific as well. And in fact, which is definitely embedded in the pyramids due to the build, due to the way it was, the structure of it.
Listen, I'm going to North Carolina next month for A&T homecoming festivities. I'm going to have to pay Mr. Van Dorn a visit. I need to get me some sacred geometry. So I will be going trying to find that when I get there. But
That is
Mr.
real. That's real. That is very, very real.
I mean, because it's energy, and that's so. I will talk more about it another time because I want Miss Sylvia to share.
Numbers, sacred geometry, all of that, very real. It all carries a frequency that you can really work with.
Exactly, and
Um, this is, remember I told you this was designed by Van Doren, and you can
yes.
and get these pieces on Estes.
Oh, that's right. But I'm gonna get one from him in person. I'm gonna get one in person if I can. If not, I'll go on Etsy and get one. Cause look, actually, I'm wearing bracelets now because I learned about the black obsidian bracelet, like and the tiger's eye. They protect against negative energy. Yeah, and this, I'm joining the revolution. Yeah. So I
I just
am.
wanted
It's too much going
I
on
just
around
wanted to
here, y'all.
mention I
Go
just want to
ahead.
mention too. I had a friend, and he was from Jamaica, and he said, "Write it down, write it down." So I'm saying to you, write it down. There, if you want to know more
Mhm.
about the principles of melanin, I would suggest the book. Oh gosh, you can't get it now. The book is called "The Chemical Key to Black Greatness" by Dr. Carol Barnes,
The chemical
and
key.
that one years ago was $1,500.
Whoa.
Um, Hmm. I'm glad I got it before it got popular and got two of them. But he's on YouTube, Dr. Carol Barnes. If you want to find out the power that you have within you, Dr. Carol Barnes. And I don't want to negate the Black writers that first started teaching about our greatness. Any book you can get by Dr. John Henry Clark,
Hmm.
any book that you can get by Ben Yackerman, Dr. Asa Hilliard. Okay, those men were the vanguards in helping us to get this information. They were the first ones to present it, and I learned that information by being a member of the ASCAC conference, the Association for the Study of Classical African and African American Civilizations. And they would have this big conference every year in a different state. And Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Asa Hilliard, all of them would be the presenters at this conference. And that's like ASCAC organization, the ASCAC organization. They still do a little Zoom stuff, but it's not to the magnitude of the conferences that they used to do years ago. But I'm just saying,
Mhm.
the Black writers, I'm glad that they did introduce us to who we really are, and the fact that that's why on the temples in Kemet and the statues they wrote, "Man, know thyself." And I
That's
thought
right.
at the time that it meant, "Man, know your history." It meant, "Man, know to me that you are power filled," and all of the other things that are metaphysical.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say this only before I have to leave. But if you think about it, all the Victorian, all the buildings built in the Tartarian Empire time, everything had triangle roofs, or it might start as a circle, but they all came to a point. And they knew the power of energy. They knew the power of our body in those facilities, like the sacred geometry and the copper piece she just handled. So once they learned the power we were having and displaying and the fear of taking over is when they tore all that down and made all buildings we have now are square. Every home,
Now
everything is square to
that's an
alleviate
excellent
our power.
point.
And I hate to leave on that because that's my thing, but finish, I'm going to watch it and we will get back and thank everyone and have a good night.
Thanks,
You too,
Shelley.
Shelley.
I want to carry that point on. And we were talking about this today. We were talking about this with Van. So this is what you call synchronicity for him to bring that up. The structures that you live and work in. If certain banks, like in Greensboro, North Carolina, the banks and places of power, the courthouses, have a step pyramid at the top of those buildings. This is its center. This is in Greensboro, North Carolina. Because of the energy these shapes carry. Another thing, the Native Americans who are Africans, that was us here in America, we are the Native Americans. Our teepees were pyramid shaped. And any ancients, even that any of the ancients, either their homes, like when I lived in Africa, those homes were either pyramid shaped or round because of the energy that those shapes would generate. So when you're in, like Shelley was saying, a square top building deletes all that powerful energy. So I would never live in an apartment building with a flat roof. I would never work, and I have a choice, in a building with a flat, all day long with a flat roof. If you have to, get outside. On your break and lunch hour, get outside.
That's deep. So because I'm trying to think. I know like a lot of the old houses in Florida, those roofs were flat. But so you're saying that that the building should be like on the wow. Look, now you got me thinking, what is my building outside? The roof over my head looks like outside. But look, somebody sent me a text. They can't seem to access the chat here. They say, don't forget Ivan Van Sertima.
Yeah.
Very definitely.
And Chancellor Williams.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. Okay. So those are two other people. And then Mr. Van Doren put in the chat for us, the sacred geometry of consciousness is articulated through our physiology. The cosmic orbs, Sister Sylvia and Sister Penelope, have amplified and magnified through and feeling. It could have meant through. It could have been typo, but magnified through feeling. So I definitely need to get me one of these little cosmic orbs and okay.
And also, speaking of shapes, when you see the hats with hats that are pointed in a lot of different religious sects, it's because of the same reason.
The Lesotho, the country of Lesotho. I wish I was downstairs. They wear, the hat that they wear is a pyramid shape.
Mm-hmm. Even the Catholics too. Even the Catholic priests.
Yeah.
They do because they know they know the power. They know because they stole the information. They know it.
If you look at,
I'm sitting here,
if you look at
the put on my poker face on this one,
and then even I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We can sing together, but we can't. The headgear of the Pope in the Vatican. Look at the headgear of Thoth.
And actually, I can't remember which pharaoh it was, but I saw this in Egypt. That Pope's hat is almost identical.
They copied it
to the one that he had on. Yeah.
They stole the information. Yes, they stole the information. They are hiding the knowledge. We all know this. They're hiding the knowledge. They know a lot of this.
You know what, Cola? All that information is in writing, but the public fool system has taught us not to read. Once you graduate with that flat hat they have you put on your head, once you graduate, you think they want you to think you know all you need to know. You've graduated. Do not read outside of this curriculum. You don't have to read anything else. You got your PhD, you got your MS, and I tell you what they really stand for. You know what BS stands for, and then the MS, more BS. But anyway, once you get those so-called degrees, it's saying like you know everything. You don't need to read anything else. It's a distraction.
Let me say this, for me, it can be because because once you once you've been in a system of studying, when you go to school, you go to college, you have to study, you have to learn how to comprehend, you have to learn context, you have reading comprehension, you have reading context. I don't know if y'all remember all of that, but what that does is, if you stay
You don't
with it,
know.
hold on, wait a minute, hold on. If you stay with that, then that's all you will get. But if you take that comprehension and that context outside of the system and apply that comprehension and apply that context, you will shoot to the moon with that application of information. So yeah, they teach you what to think and how to think, but the skill of understanding the difference between context, the skill of comprehension, the skill of even increasing and vocabulary, that serves you when you are open enough to take it outside of the system and then begin to study on.
And I would say, including yourself, those kinds of people, they're very few.
And you know what? As I'm
Okay, so and you're right, but my point is, we are given the tools. Now, how you use the tools is up to you, but we're given the tools. No,
We're
we're
I was
given
just
the
just
not
tools.
I
use
was,
We're
them.
given the tools.
I was
Because
just
even,
saying
I'm sorry, go
that
ahead.
I was just saying that yes, we have the tools, but due to modern day distractions and the public food system,
Now that's another. You're right. That's a take. That is a distraction. A distraction from using the tools. But when you go to school, you are given those tools. Now, how you exercise them is on you. We're given the tools. I can read stuff that a lot of people can't comprehend, and I'm not the smartest. I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box. But because of the studying, because of the studying, because of learning how things happen and occur in systematic ways, understanding how systems are put together. And when I say systems, I mean systems as far down as the atom, all the way up to politics. When you understand how systems work, you can apply that in other things. You get a lot. The tools are given, is my point. The tools are given, but it just depends on how you use them.
Well, you know what? As I'm listening to you guys, I just finished listening to this book by Napoleon Hill, titled "Outwitting the Devil." And one of the things, long story short, and I highly recommend everybody reading the book. But he was basically doing an interview in which we know it's consciousness, we know it's energy, and one of the things that the devil says that he uses to keep people under his control is the school system. He said because the school isn't really teaching the kids to think, it's teaching the kids to memorize. So if they're being taught, so every time
I don't know.
Miss Tilly
Cola,
was saying
yes.
the school system,
It's not
because
true, because it's not true. When you think chemistry, when you think math, all different levels of math, different levels of chemistry, which I've had, you are having to think and you're having to analyze. You are.
yeah,
And
but
we
see,
and
can
now hold
if
on.
you get
Now a lot
no, you got
now
to
a
talk
lot
first.
hold on, I wasn't finished. I'm sorry, but
I
I wasn't
wasn't either,
finished.
but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Timmy. Go on.
I lost my thought. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well,
Okay, so what I was saying, well, go ahead.
mm-mm,
Go. Did you find your thought back?
I did, but go ahead. I lost it.
No, go on and finish your thought. I apologize for interrupting you.
No, you fine. No, but no, I done lost it. Go ahead.
I want to
Well,
say
what I was
something. Everything comes from our own perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And the first school for me was my home. My mother taught me to read. So I didn't go to school to learn anything. My first my first teaching was, the home. Well, even when I went to college, it wasn't to learn anything. This is my personal experience. I was going there to get a piece of paper that would help me get a better job so I wouldn't have to work in servitude like my grandparents did. But I knew when I entered these institutions, I wasn't going there to learn anything.
Mm.
That was just my personal experience. And I went through just memorizing stuff. They said, "Well, how do you do that? You and your roommate, y'all partied all the time. How do you all get on the honor roll? Just memorize the stuff and get on out of there." But that's what I'm saying. For me personally, my first school was my home. I thank God for my mother and my grandparents. They taught us critical thinking and how to read.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying in the book. He's saying we're not, the kids are not really. And I get where you were going, Cola, because you're learning, you're applying it. But if it's
and I
just
wanted to finish after you finish
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
want to
And if
finish. Yeah.
what he was saying, if it's about a memory thing, the kids probably would learn more if they're given things and taught to do more hands-on, to do more thinking. Remember, Rockefeller said, "I don't want a world full of thinkers. I want a world full of workers," which is why he started the public education, the board of education. So, but go ahead, Cola.
So first, let me start by saying too, and I say this because I hear a lot of people saying the educational system is this, the educational system is that. But this is when we go to school, and especially college,
Mm-hmm.
that is to teach you about your profession. Now, if you're going to college and thinking that college is going to teach you about life, that's on you. If you're going to college to be a teacher, you're going to learn those things that become that. If you're going to college to be an engineer, you're going to learn how to become an engineer. So those are geared toward careers. It's not geared toward life. It's geared toward career. So that's the first misconception. So anybody in YouTube land who thinks that once you go to college, you have it all figured out, that's not it. That's not, you don't have it all figured out. You're learning your profession and where your profession is at that time. Now 10 years down the line, that profession is going to change. I mean, there's going to be more to learn due to evolution in that profession. Then 20 and 50 years, 100 years down the line, is going to be more to learn due to evolution of that. Engineers aren't going to learn what engineers are learning today. So you're going to college to learn about the career, not
Mm-hmm.
about life. That's all I want. Oh, and along the route, you're learning the basics to get you there. You're learning the math, and you're not learning sacred geometry. But if you don't know basic math, you won't understand sacred geometry. You're understanding context. You're understanding comprehension because you have to be able to put things into context in order to even understand what you're reading and learning. You have to be able to comprehend in order to apply the knowledge properly in a systematic way. So those are the very basic things that we get. Now, unfortunately, some people make it through without even learning context. Unfortunately, some people make it through without even learning how to comprehend. So that's all I wanted to say. So if you're looking for college for life, life's answers, that ain't it.
Yeah, I don't think people thought about life in college,
Well,
but
that's how they talk about it. That's how they talk about it. Like,
yeah, no, because
college don't teach you
they don't
nothing.
even teach
College
common
teaches
sense.
you.
They don't even teach common sense. That's not even
Well, what
taught.
they well, some people say college don't teach you nothing, the school don't teach you nothing, but college does teach you something. It teaches you your career. So it does teach you something. But outside of that career, you can't look to college for nothing else outside of your career.
Got you. Okay, so let me read these comments, and Miss Sylvia, I'm gonna let you share your notes. Okay, so Mr. Van Dorn was actually saying those cosmic orbs help to amplify and magnify thoughts and feelings. So he put that in there. And then he said knowledge of shapes and patterns is a key to one's well-being. And from what we're hearing, we're talking about, I get that. Distraction attractions have been developed and deployed to keep people from wandering off of the plantation of unconsciousness. I agree. That's the blue pill. That's the blue pill. That's the blue pill, and the red and the blue. And then he said, wait a minute, these so-called sciences are devoid of what the ancients knew. So, and that's based on something that we were
That's
talking
true.
about. And
A
then
lot of it. Yeah.
and then someone else added, college does help you with life. So, all right. Good stuff. Okay, hold on, Mr. Van Dorn. Tell me how he should have been here. We must each become aware of what the ancients knew about energy and consciousness. It is possible the door to freedom will open for one who insists on being free. I agree. I agree. All right, Miss Sylvia, Abuela, take it away. What you got for us?
That was that. And another thing, anytime a person wants to know, the universe will rearrange everything to make sure they know.
Yes.
And if you don't know, it's because you don't want to know about a particular thing. I'm saying that anytime we want to know, the universe will fix it. So a teacher will come or a book will land in your face. That information you'll get. Yeah.
Oh no, you are so right. Because even after the session with you and Mr. Van Dorn last month, the spirit spoke. I was here by myself, and the spirit spoke something to me, and that I was like, "Ooh, how I wouldn't even be able to tell people this because I know they really wouldn't be able to receive this." But it was something that it was speaking to me, and then when I was listening to that Edgar Casey message about Jesus's teaching, it confirmed what was said to me 4 weeks ago. So I was like, so just like you said, it will rearrange. Yes, it will. It will give you and it will confirm things that are spoken to you. I just don't want to get into it right now because I don't think people ready for what was really spoken to me and what was confirmed. But go ahead, Miss Sylvia. Let's jump into some of your notes before we lose our time together.
Something that just came to me today. That's why I said, don't worry about those notes. One of the scientists that, the one John Zajac, he said, it is not who built the pyramids. The question is, who designed the pyramids? You see the difference? That's the question. And those pyramids are what? 4,614 years old? Who designed? Who was the architect of those pyramids?
It's almost like you saying like this modern technology that we have today was available. No,
the technology, the technology we have today, the designers of the pyramid would far exceeds that technology.
Yeah.
The pyramids themselves, just as an example, if a block, one of those stone blocks weighs 20 tons, it has been discovered that today in the US, they only have machinery that can lift 1.5 tons. 400,000 years ago, or whatever, they could lift 20. And another thing, when they laid out those bricks, or those bricks that weigh 20 tons on that pyramid, they had a space between them the width of a blade of a piece of hair. The width
Each
of a
one.
piece. Beg your pardon?
No, we just
Each
agreeing.
one.
What do you mean? What do
Cola.
you
Say each one, each one, as they were, each one, each space.
Okay. The space which was the width of a piece of hair, they had glue that would go into that space that lasted over 400,000 years. What about what? And we talking Elmer's glue. So I'm just showing you the difference in the advanced technology then to today.
Wow,
That's marvelous.
that is.
That's a
Yeah, it
marvel.
seems as though we've devolved instead of evolved.
Hmm.
And do you feel
And
that's by design with all these distractions and all this need for control to keep people from really knowing who they really are and their true divinity and stuff like that? Like that's crazy to think that we have gone back versus going forward when we're supposed to be here to evolve and grow.
Well, they turned the time back because if they hadn't, we'd be in the year, and I wrote it down because Quasi uses it all the time. We'd be in about 6420 instead of 2025. But they took the time back. The Greeks took it back and started. They walked the time back.
Wow. Listen, the chat is loving this. Somebody put in the chat, we need to continue this topic. This is deep. This is deep. And then and I knew it would be, and Mr. Van Doren put sacred geometry is the true mathematical science.
It is.
It is. So in fact, Mr. Van Doren, I think I'm gonna call you tomorrow. I think I need you and I need to talk. I need to talk to you directly. I'm gonna get your number from email and give you a call. Um
And that
Mr.
science radiates frequency as well.
Say that what radiates
I
frequency?
said the application of it radiates frequencies.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how you get healed. It's frequency is
Hmm.
energy. That's how you get healed. And
Hmm.
the other thing I wanted to mention before we close out, Billy Carson. Billy
Recently heard
Carson,
about him.
he wrote the book, the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. That's a book that I think we need to get. And he does an extensive tour, a different kind of tour of the pyramids. And he gives a different kind of information when you go on his tour of the pyramids. And one of the things that he talked about was they tell us it was a tomb. Those boxes that you see in there is a sarcophagus, and those sarcophagus were really regeneration chambers. And when you would get into those chambers, they could regenerate the cells in the body. Now, what's his name?
Robert
Grant, Edward L. Grant. He talks about he went in there, he spent 120 days, and he said he went into the chamber and he started chanting, Om, Om. He said that whole chamber started vibrating. He looked up and he could see an 8-sided flower of life, and the center point opened up and it was a portal, and he went right on through.
And that's what I was gonna say too. Those not only were they energy chambers, but they were also portals as well. At least some of them were.
Wow. That's deep. You know what,
Did you
Cola?
see the
That
movie Stargate?
say that again,
What'd you
Miss Lee?
say?
Did you see the movie Stargate?
No. It talked about
Mm-mm.
portals.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
there's some Cola, correct me if I'm wrong. The book Seth Speaks. Didn't he talk about in certain places portals here in the United States? I
Who is
really
that?
in the book Seth Speaks by Jane Roberts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially in Arizona.
Arizona is a portal point.
Especially in Arizona, yeah. And I think that's why a lot of shamans move there. Or anyway, yeah, a lot of yeah.
Oh wow.
In the United States, yes, but also, yeah, he did talk about that. But I have definitely read that were the not only were the pyramids, because there are many of them, not only were they were healing chambers, some of them were portals, and healing by rejuvenation, like you said, energy cells, and then some of them were sound. Um, they some of them were used know how true that is, but I know when I went to the pyramids in Mexico, they were doing a lot of things with sound. They were doing a lot of things with sound at particular times of the day.
Mm,
At particular times of the day, they were doing particular things with sound, with the opening at the top of the pyramids there.
wow. You know what? I have a singing bowl. I haven't used it in a while, but I well, I just have a little small one, and it that is like chakras, the little healing frequency. So wow. Oh, and Miss Sylvia, somebody put that is a great book, that Billy Carson book. So guys, yeah, check it out. This is some good stuff here. Miss Sylvia, anything else from even if it's anything at your notes you feel you want to throw at us before we start wrapping this up?
Even with Billy Carson, not only his book, you can subscribe to his TV channel. He has his own TV channel, Forbidden Knowledge,
Knowledge, forbidden knowledge, yeah.
with the letter 4, forbiddenknowledge.com. I subscribe to it. It's only $77 a year. But he goes and he's doing in-depth lectures. He's bringing in all these speakers that some of them you heard me talk about now. Uh, that's a great source.
Mm. And Mr. Van Doren put in the chat, there are significant portals all over the planet. Which,
True.
which speaking of, have you guys heard about this whatever unidentified flying object that's supposed to be coming through space? They claim is headed for Earth, and they trying to figure out what it is. It's been out there for probably, it looked like, I guess, almost a month now, and they're like it's missing other planets, that things that if it was just coming straight like a comet or a meteor, it should just come straight through these other planets and stars and stuff, but apparently it's bypassing that, and they said it's moving at a rate, whereas it should land here, if it's coming here, like sometime in October. Have y'all heard anything about that there's something out there now?
I
Okay,
haven't.
you haven't, yeah, Google it. Some the scientists are talking about it some kind of way, they seen it, whatever. But now here's the thing that bring up another point, because I I'll go ahead and be the one to go to look crazy. I believe there are extraterrestrial presence here, um, around here. That's what I believe. I believe, I've seen the military, heard those military stories
You're
like
not
that.
crazy.
I but I believe
I
it.
mean, in the universe is infinite. In fact, it's
Yeah.
not just the universe, it's a multiverse. I mean, it's infinite. So with that being said, I mean, we're not the only conscious life form.
No.
Mm-mm.
We're not the only conscious. I mean, we will be really arrogant to believe that. And when you look at the abundance, like we have a variety of, just look at we have a variety of planets. We have a variety of trees. We have a variety of flowers. We have varieties. Everything that you see on this planet is variety. So why would it just be a variety of one conscious group of beings? Everything God made, everything is variety. The universe is infinite. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I truly believe. there's other life forms here right now.
I agree. And I
Yeah.
mean, in
And
this dimension on this planet, I'm walking
yeah,
among
on
us.
this planet,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this
walking
planet.
among us.
Uh-huh.
I do believe that, but um, like it, there a lot of these movies have really tried to tell us a lot of this stuff, but again, we've looked at it as entertainment and not want, like, oh, okay, well, that's just a movie. No, there was some messages in the movie. There was like, wake up, because
Almost like preparation.
yeah, and then I think recently it's come to me like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and it's like there's some truth to that. That's why, like, I'm glad next week we're gonna talk about global hypnosis, because it's almost like they're hypnotizing the people, but it's not a spaceship that's doing it. It's those, what I like to call those
Well,
power.
listen, you have Africa talk about coming from their ancestors being from a whole nother star system.
Mm.
And then you also have gosh, what are they? Sangomas. There's some African Sangomas that talk about they actually have statues that they made. This didn't come from the white man.
Mm-hmm.
They have statues that they sculpted and made depicting other life forms that had visited the planet that was passed down from generation to generation. You know how they have story keepers?
Mm.
Some of the Sangomas are story keepers, and this information has been passed down with the statues to go with it, have been passed down from one generation, and then once that Sangoma passes, the next one up in line gets the stories and gets the artifacts that go along with it. They've been passed down from hundreds of years, and they have statues been visiting the planet. This did not come from white men. This came from Africa, and they still keep it within their within their sacred
Community.
society. Yeah.
And
Mm.
that's why people like, what's the one they don't let talk? They banned him from all of the YouTube channels, everything.
David Icke.
David Icke. That's why they won't listen to him. He went to Mutwa over in South Africa. That he's one of the ones, the Sangomas, some of them call them, uh, to study under them.
Mm.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, 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 wow. Okay, this has been good stuff. We might have to do a part two on this, because I feel there's more that's gonna come forward. And I do want to add, okay, so Mr. Van Doren said there are 64 major energy nodes on this planet that serves as portals. So that's interesting. And he says stories have been circulating about this for some time now. We will know when we know. And
The pharaohs had the knowledge to open those portals. The
mm,
pharaohs had the knowledge, and they were gatekeepers as well. They acted as gods here on this planet, and they had the knowledge to open those portals,
wow.
and they
Wow.
used it.
Wow. This has been some good stuff here, y'all. I love it. 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 So listen, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in. Wow, this has been a lot to absorb, but this is good stuff. Thank you. Thank all of you, like Cola, Miss Sylvia, even Miss P, Shelly, who has left us. You all have y'all opened my eyes, because listen, I'm glad I was the host, because y'all saw I couldn't really talk about this topic here. Y'all brought it. So thank you. So let me go ahead and wrap it up. Miss P, you have any final words for the people, whether about tonight's topic or anything that you want to share with the people that's on your heart?
I would just say keep an open mind, read as much as you can, and realize that if you're not doing the research, you don't know if it's true or not.
Facts.
But it's all worth, if something resonates with you, then it's for you.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you had an amazing time. Thank you for sharing the videos with us. I hate we couldn't get through all of them, but thank you so much for sharing and the information you provided us. I'm so grateful for you. for that. Thank you. And know that you were missed last month. Mr. Van Dorn held it down for you, but we did miss you.
Thank you.
Miss Penelope, can I ask you, did you have notes that you were, did you have more notes that you were going to discuss tonight?
No, I did not.
That would have been Miss Sylvia. Miss Sylvia had some.
Well, because of her.
Sylvia had the notes.
Okay. I didn't know if you had made some based on your trip that you wanted to share with us. Because
actually, Cola, I'm still, as you say, I'm still unpacking that trip. So I don't know when I'll be writing anything about it. But it was just so much.
Because I want to know about it. I want to know about the trip to, and especially
what do you want to know specifically?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
All that you learned.
I'm still decompressing.
Okay.
All right. Well, when you have it decompressed, and even if in the future we can circle back and visit this conversation, because again, the chat want us to have more want us to talk more about this.
Her tour guide is studied too. He's a researcher. The person the couple that gave a tour, they're researchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. There's a lot to learn from that, and these are just not Arabic researchers or white scientists.
They have books too. Ashwa Kwesi has books. The tour guide she mentioned.
He has books. He has videos on YouTube.
I would look.
Yeah, just look him up.
And spell the name. Do you know how to spell the name?
Ashra. That's his first name. And the last name is Kwesi, and that's spelled Kwesi.
Kwesi. Okay. All right, guys. So that way we can at least we can go back to the recording and get it. All right. Thank you.
We won't be getting it from an Arabic perspective. We'll be getting it from some real Black history.
An African perspective.
Some African. That's why I really want to know about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right. And then before we get, so Mr. Vandor said we have one ancestor, Credo Mutwa. He's not sure the spelling. Who told the true stories. So I guess we need to look that person. Well, you all know about Credo.
You can look him up on YouTube.
So we're gonna have to look Credo up. All right. Cola, any final words for the people?
Oh, this was an interesting topic. And as Miss P said, keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind. I mean, you can't believe everything you hear. That's why you have to look at multiple sources that back it up and find out where they get their research from and where they get it from. But yeah, in the process of doing so, keep an open mind because there's a lot that we don't know.
Always.
Absolutely. Miss Sylvia, Abuela, any final words for the people tonight?
I think everything has been said. I just appreciate the opportunity for being on the podcast because it gives me a chance to learn.
Look, thank you for being on, and thank you for teaching and allowing me to learn, because I promise you, I am learning so much from all of you guys, and I am forever grateful. I'm grateful for the knowledge and everything, because this is what helps make us better. This helps us to grow. We evolve, because Cola, look, that's been one of our visions and missions from day one, growth and evolution. So I love this. So thank you all for your time invested in this. And I just, to all of everyone that was a part of this tonight, I just got to say thank you. And just for those who don't know who I am, my services, I am a life coach and transformational speaker who would love to be part of your event as either a MC or a speaker. So to obtain more information, visit www.thassawoman.com. With much love and gratitude, again, I thank my panels, all you queens. I thank you so much. And the King Shelley, he left, but he dropped some gems and some wisdom while he was here. So I thank all of you, and to my viewers, much love and gratitude. Thank you all for being with us tonight on this journey. And again, if you are not part of our community, I invite you to subscribe, as we are here weekly at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, so you will receive the notifications. Also, do us a favor, drop us a comment, which, well, you guys have been dropping comments, but give us a thumbs up, and feel free to share this video. This knowledge is powerful. And of course, the more we know and apply it, makes it even more powerful. So please share it with others. And in honor of September being Self-Care Awareness Month, I leave you all with this. And I'm going to combine two quotes for you on this one. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first. And know this: self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity for a balanced life. My words to go with that: anybody that has ever been on a plane has heard the saying, put the mask on yourself first before helping others. Far too long, people have subscribed to the ideology that in order to effectively serve, they must serve even when they are depleted. That type of service is not serving you or your highest good. True service is freeing to both you and others when you are properly cared for yourself. It allows you to give from your overflow, which then does not tend to feel like work. It feels like bliss. And I want you all to have a blissfully happy life. Peace, love, and stay amazing.
Miss Penelope, can you? I want to ask you about